the Honda engineers were like, man, someday somebody's gonna lift one of these and they're gonna need to be able to adjust the cambers. Hey guys, welcome back to HRG TV. My name is Ben, and today we have a 2025 Honda Civic. And of course, as you know, all these Honda Civics suffer from the same problem. They set too low. So we're gonna fix that today with a 1.5-inch lift kit from HRGOffroad.com. So if you're interested in one, go check it out right now. They are for sale. But this customer actually lives down a dirt road and he sometimes goes camping, and there's a clearance issue for the Civic. But the 1.5-inch kit actually does give you 1.5 inches of additional clearance without even changing the tires. And we're also gonna be putting bigger tires on, not in this video, but there will be other. If I have it by the time, I'll put a picture up right now of what it looks like with the bigger tires. But either way, stay tuned to the end of the video where I'll have a bunch of different tire sizes you can do on the Civic. Anyways, with all that said, let's get right to it. I'm wondering if a 15-inch wheel will fit on there. If this fits, I'm going to be surprised. Dude, it totally fits. Yeah, look at that. 15-inch wheel on a 2025. Now we know a first-gen CRV wheel will fit on a 2025 Civic. Set that somewhere safe. Okay, now unfortunately this is one of those that everything has to come apart to do suspension work. It's the dumbest design I've ever seen. But, you know, you just have to deal with it. Use the old finger pliers. Get that out. Gotta love a 2025. No rust. It's the hottest day of the year in North Carolina. Well, it's the hottest day of the year so far, I should say. And our air conditioning decided to pack up yesterday. So we're out here dripping sweat, no AC, and it is pure misery. Well, that's really on there. I don't know. Try a little bit more. Oh, dude. Wow. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that just absolutely sheared the bit right off. There it goes. You can still get it apart, I think, without having to take that off. All right, we'll just let that hang. Tight. Surprisingly tight for a brand new car. Okay. All right. Now we're totally disconnected except the top 3 nuts. Those will be next. You know what's crazy is that this Civic, being a 2025, is like identical in every way other than the engine as a 2016. Everything, like I took pictures of both and set them side by side on my computer screen, and you can just, it's the exact same car. Wow. Yep. Now, unlike the Hondas I've worked on recently, was that 2015 CRV we just did, it didn't have a service position and the hood just flipped back against the windshield. This one actually does have the service position, which I think is really cool that Honda does that. But not all their cars have that. For this next step, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is go find an activity that you enjoy and possibly find other people that also enjoy that same activity, befriend one of them, and then con them into coming to help you with your lift kit install. Unfortunately, I didn't bother with any of that, so I'm gonna have to do this myself. That's a good, probably a good 45 pounds, I would say, maybe 40. But there it is. And I guess we don't have to actually take the brake rotor off. Normally I do just to protect it, but that screw will not come out. And I don't feel like drilling it. All right, so you might be looking at this and saying, how in the hell is that gonna fit back in the car? The bolts don't line up. Well, a lot of you know this, most of you do, I'm sure, but some of you might not, and that is the fact that there's a bearing right here, and when you steer your steering wheel back and forth, the wheel actually pivots on this point right here. There's a rotating assembly, so this stays put, and all this turns. So all you have to do to make this spacer bolt up is to just turn it 60 degrees. So it should just go right in now, hopefully. And again, you want to get a friend to help. Another thing worth mentioning at this point is that if you notice right here, the bolt holes are slotted. And basically that gives you a measure of camber adjustment. And I'm not certain that it's widely known that those are slotted like that. So it might be worth mentioning to your alignment technician that it has slotted holes, so in case you have either too much positive or too much negative camber, you can actually do some adjusting right there. The Honda engineers were like, man, someday somebody's gonna lift one of these and they're gonna need to be able to adjust the camber. Now, I'm just guessing, but I'm gonna go ahead and dial in some negative camber, because typically when you lift, it brings the bottom of the wheels down because of the geometry. And if you angle the top back in, it comes out straight. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these in with just a little bit of negative camber. So even though I was guessing at the camber adjustment, it ended up working out just perfect. As you can see by the alignment printout here, it's right where it needed to be. All right, so first thing you're gonna do is put the axle back into the hub, and then I want you to see down here, you've got these 3 bolts, and you're just gonna use a pry bar like I am right here, just put it in that little spot. And then basically line up the bolts. Tie rod end. It's about 1,000,000 degrees outside in the Carolinas today. This guy, always in the shot.
I made that file for you, though, like you asked, which is what's actually important.
Okay. Give him a pass this time.
Yeah. So how's this thing coming?
I don't know. It's not too bad.
About half lifted?
Yeah, dude, I'm like not even 25% lifted right now.
This is not
I've just had other things.
Hot back here right now.
No. AC is on full tilt. Yeah.
Well, if you guys aren't being antisocial and you keep this door open, have a little bit of a cool breeze, but enjoy your beverages.
Yeah. Thanks. Now get out of here. Okay, you just put the brake line back in. And don't forget about your wheel sensor. All right, for this next part, this is where it gets scary for a lot of people. But if you are an installer, this is nothing special. You just got to drill this hole out to fit the bigger sway bar end link. So if you're not comfortable with this sort of thing, probably shouldn't be lifting your car, because it is a modification and you do have to modify. So what we're going to do is enlarge this hole one size. Ooh, let me turn that down, that's too fast. There it is. Perfect. Look at that. Yeah, I think it's gonna go on. Look at that. Okay, the sway bar end link accounts for the lift, so your sway bar actually doesn't move. It stays right where it used to be. Come on, man. Why is this not coming off? Help me understand. All right, this side's done. We can now move over to the other side. All right, something you'll have to do only on the 2-liter non-turbo Civics is trimming one little piece on the subframe. So if you look right here, the axle comes down and it's basically in the way. Right here, there's a little tab that's in the way, and you'll have to cut that off. The reason being is because the non-turbo Civics have unequal length CV axles. Driver's side axle is really short and the passenger side axle is really long. So when the wheels move up and down, this one is gonna occupy more space, so to speak, when it moves. So all I did was I took an air saw. If you don't have one of these, you'll probably have to get one because it's gonna be very difficult to do without it. But this was so easy. I just took my air saw and just buzzed off the corner of that little tab, and now everything's hunky-dory. And to be clear, the only time that would ever be an issue is if you were flying through the air, because that's the only time both wheels are gonna fall all the way down, or if it's on a lift like this, but you're not driving it on the lift. So that's really the only issue there, but I wanted to just go over that. Okay, long-winded explanation. All right, moving on to the back. So in the back, first thing you're gonna do is subframe drop. So we're gonna do that. It is a 17 millimeter. Zip these bolts out. And now you are more than welcome to do this in however you want, whatever manner you like. Personally, I prefer doing it the way I do it because it's quicker and easier. What I mean by that is I'm just gonna go ahead and throw these bolts in temporarily, and that just supports the weight of the subframe, keeps it from falling on my head. But if you prefer, you can do some sort of a pole jack or screw jack or something to support the weight, but I don't do that because it takes too much time and isn't really necessary. And these are just longer bolts than the factory one, which gives us that ability to drop the subframe down an inch. All right, so what we've done now is basically just dropped it down an inch. These are freshly made off of our new lathe. right? Yeah, they look good. So at this point, what you're gonna do is put the spacer in between the subframe and the body, like this. And what I usually do is leave it a little bit loose until everything is in. And for these, the same thing. Go ahead and put one of them in. Just keep the bolt hole lined up, you know. Makes it a little easier to put them in. You have to thread those in by hand before you hit them with an impact, because those particular bolts are really easy to cross thread. Just be careful. Right there. There you go. It should be that easy. Usually it is, but hopefully you didn't just cross thread something during that step, because it is a pain. Ask me how I know. See, it's already not wanting to. Yeah, it's not wanting to cooperate. Let's see, what can I pry on? Oh. What the hell's wrong with this thing? Okay. Oh yeah, that was much easier. Now we've got this one threaded in over here by hand, so we know it's good. Go ahead and tighten this one up. And now this one will stay lined up. So we can just throw the spacer in there. That was a little more work than it should have been, but we're learning together. So basically what you want to do is you're going to want to take this bolt out first and then put the new bolt in before you take that one out, and then take that one out, put the new bolt in with the spacer, tighten it up, and then put this one in. That's a pretty surefire way to get it done without having to worry about cross-threading anything. So it's just really complicated to remember. But anyway, we can go ahead and move on to the spring spacers. What you want to do now is release the pressure from the spring slowly. Don't let the spring pop out and hit you in the face. I've seen it happen. There you go. All right, next thing you're gonna do is throw the spacer on, just like that, and then just pop it right back up in there. So the trick here is this moves back to front and up and down. So you want to be able to line this up best you can. This is a little bit easier with a floor jack because it's got wheels on it. You can move it around, but you can still do it with a pole jack like this. Okay, so just go ahead and lift this up. There, just like that. right. Shock is unhooked from the vehicle. We're just gonna pull it down so we can see what the hell we're doing. Like a nice little lift kit sandwich right there. And then these bolts will just go back in. See how that works? Just like that. There's your shock extension. So let's go ahead and get this sort of in position. There it goes. Now, if you prefer, might be easier for you to remove this entire rear wheel well cover. I didn't because I just, did it that way, but however you want to do it's fine. All right, that pretty much wraps it up for the back. Just got to do the other side with the spring spacer and the shock extension. The sway bar end link does not line up anymore, and that's because the other side isn't done. Once the other side's done, the other lower control arm will be at the same angle, and therefore this will fit. Now, if you're just impatient, you can go ahead and lift up on this control arm to get that lined up, but you don't really need to do that. We'll just wait till the end when both sides are done, and then pop your bolt in. All right, that pretty much wraps it up for this installation. Now, if you are interested in that lift kit, we do have them for sale right now at HRGOffroad.com. Meanwhile, let's take a look at these tires. I'll be honest, 18-inch wheels is not really conducive to off-road tread patterns. I'll put a couple of tire sizes up for you for the stock 18-inch wheel, but my personal advice is to go with a much smaller wheel. And I did a test fit earlier, and you can put a 15-inch wheel on this car. So one of the main reasons we did this lift kit for this customer is because he lives down a road that has a lot of ups and downs and terrain. So the one problem the Civic has is that it has this giant front lip right here that sticks out like 4 feet in front of the tire. So if you come up on any sort of a grade, or let's say even a steep driveway, this is gonna scrape. So doing the lift kit now, it helped, so it does not do that anymore. You got a lot more clearance under here, and you also have another 1.5 inches of clearance under the entire car. So if you do live down a dirt road or just want to be able to go off-roading in your Civic, you get an extra 1.5 inches without even changing your tires. So it's a big deal. So you could do a much bigger tire and get up to 2.5, maybe even 3 inches of additional clearance under your car with that particular combo. So that's pretty much it for the video. I appreciate you watching all the way to the end, and I'll see you in the next video. All the good wrenches are gone. All the 12, the 14, and the 17, they're all missing. That's my old set. I had to buy this set because the other ones disappeared. I gotta get it together, man. I know. Thanks for being patient. All right. Oh, you go ahead and... What else do I usually say? Help me out here. I got to get this done. I'm freaking boiling.
I'm not sure.